Welcome to this look at new mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. It's Thursday the 16th of July. We have new mods. There are no updates today, and just to put it out there, I didn't do a mod review yesterday. A few people have asked. I didn't do one yesterday. Apologies for that. But these are today's mods for the 16th. Directly in front of us we have got the OBE Biodynamic Weeder. This is by Black Eyes Modding. This will use 9 slots for each of these. With seasons on, these will be more relevant generally speaking, especially on console, because these are designed to work on vineyards and things like that. The premise being that when you've got your vines growing in rows, these go between the rows and it's a mechanical weeder, so as it rolls these spin and take the weeds out, and the widths can be adjusted to fit the rows of the crops you're doing. Now obviously on a normal crop of any of the other crop types you've got on console, that's not really what they're designed for. They're designed for vineyards and orchards and things like that, so they do still have a relevance in that with seasons on, because the weeds grow in smaller patches. This is a much smaller weeding option. To go out with one of these and just do a small patch of weeds, I think still makes it relevant. I personally, that's my own personal opinion. These you will find under tools, under weeders. The biodynamic single one is 7,250 to buy. Like I say, 9 slots, 2.5 metre, and then you've got the biodynamic duo at 8,700 to buy. Only 50 horsepower required as well, 40 horsepower for the single. So like I say, compared to some of the other more expensive bigger weeders that are going to do a blanket area, I think, yeah, this is definitely an option. But I'll show you what I mean. We'll hook up to it. I'll hook up to the double like so. We'll open the help menu at the side, so we can raise and lower the weeder. L1 and circle, raise and lower the weeder. On PlayStation it's L1 and circle, but obviously if you open your help window it will show you whatever your options are for your vehicles. We can L1 and right stick side to side, spread that right out, so depending on the width of your rows, let's say if you are doing a vineyard or you're on I'm going to get it wrong on Ishkia, on the particular map that has vineyards, and then if we go up and down on our stick we can adjust the angle of those. Up and down like that we go, there we go. So we can adjust up and down like so. It's getting a bit closer so we can see, just to get the angle just right for your weeding needs. And like I say, as you drive along they spin and they weed. Yeah, it's a really nicely made mod, really detailed. You can see all the cables and stuff attached when it hooks up, all the various different lines and connections and stuff like that that make it all work. And yeah, nice mod. I was concerned kind of when I first looked at it and thought, oh, okay, when you look at the Modhub at the pictures and you think, well, it really is just for vineyards, but I really do think with seasons on, hang on, got to close that. With seasons on, I really do think that has got more relevance. I don't think there's any other options on it than that. Nope. Drop it down and disconnect. Oh, that's interesting. That's still toppled over though. Maybe I don't drop it down. Do I just disconnect it and it will sit properly? Yeah, that's weird. So if you lower it and try to do it properly, it topples over. If you just disconnect it, it comes off no problem at all. So that's the first of the mods for today. Moving on, next of the mods, we've got the Fliegl ZPW160PL. This is by Kooper 3D Agrar Modding. This is a bale trailer. Now we already have the... oh, we have various different ones, don't we? DPW 210s, 180s, we've got various auto load ones, etc, etc. This is not an auto load trailer, this is a manual load trailer. This does not have straps. The whole premise for these, the design being that the cage lifts up, you load up and then the cage comes back down again. I know when the game first came out, when you close these down onto bales, the bales would jiggle around a bit and sometimes catapult out the top. I don't use these particular ones very often. The auto load ones work quite well. It's a nicely made mod. It may be you use these all the time and you absolutely love them to bits. It does have a trailer hitch on the back, so you can hitch other trailers on, or you can daisy chain these together. I would imagine with all the various different options of these bale trailers available from other modders as well, you can probably daisy chain all various different versions of these together should you want to do so. We do have a few options available on this, and you'll find this under Tools, under Baling Technology. Now, as I said, we've already got standard in game the DPW 210, which is a larger version of that particular one. Then we've got some modded ones. Were these by Top Ace 888? I'm trying to remember now. The DPW 210, these are auto load bale trailers. Then we've got the DPW 180s again, which are all modded. And then we've got the one here for today, the ZPW 160PL. 20 grand to buy, not too expensive. It will use 12 slots. I know it says 1 because I've already got one, so that drops slot count right down. You can have it loading left, loading right, which switches the hydraulics and connectors and various different things, so you can have it open one way or the other. Then we've got our option of narrow tyres, standard or wides. The narrows are free, standards are an extra 800 and wides are an extra 1000 if you want to go down that route. So what we can do is unfold bale trailer, which will do this. And like I say, depending on what side you've decided to have it open, left or right, it will do that. You load everything up, L1 and X, and it closes all back down again. Now we do have, right, so what you can do, L1 and right stick side to side, you can bring that out as well. So if you have got sort of larger bales or something that sticks out a bit further, it does give you a bit of leeway for stacking the bales off, but the problem is that doesn't latch in. That's weird actually, that hasn't latched back in, has it? That's missed a little bit. But yeah, it does give you the option to widen it and narrow it should you wish to do so. And yeah, I don't want to turn the engine. Oh, because I need the tractor. So there we go. That's the Fliegl ZPW disconnect 160 PL by Kooper 3D Agrar modding. Moving on, we've got this. This is a very dizzy little. This is a slurry spreader, slurry and digestate. This is the Lizard 2500. This is by KamUs and Chaossy. Really nice little detail. It's 2,500 litre capacity. I like the fact you've got everything kind of exposed here. Obviously, being so small, pretty much anything you hook up onto it's going to raise it. This is designed for much smaller tractors. Obviously it's not designed for massive tractors. It's not really designed for massive fills either. 2,500 litres of slurry is not going to go very far at all, but it's a nice addition if you are running a small farm with small fills and you don't want a massive slurry tanker to pull. This may well be the option you want to go for. This you'll find under Tools, under slurry tanks, not slurry spreaders. 15,000 to buy, so not overly expensive. Only 30 horsepower required to pull it, and this will spread out to 6 meters. It runs at 10 miles per hour, which is pretty much standard, I think, for most of the slurry spreaders. I think it's 10 miles an hour. Yeah, pretty much is what they run at. So what we'll do, turn it on. There you go. I mean, to be fair, you'll get an average size field. I was watching Tom Pemberton earlier on today, Tom Pemberton Farm Life, and they were slurrying their fields. And to be honest with you, we kind of get into that habit of we need something much bigger. You know, we need a massive slurry spreader, we need a massive manure spreader. We don't want to have to keep going back and reloading. But in reality, most farmers will go backwards and forwards to their slurry tank all day long and refill, refill. So in all honesty, yeah, this will do fair size fields at 6 meters. You can do whatever you want with it. Nice mod that. I like it. Right, so there you go. That's the Lizard 2500 by KamUs and Chaossy. Moving, that's how many slots that was. That's 4 slots. If you're on console, it's not many slots either. Moving on. we've got this. I'll close that off a second, like so. So what we've got here is a kind of double header. This is the Case IH Tigermate 200 by Lindbejb, I think it's Lindbejb NEFG modding, and we've got the 110 Crumbler. Now the 110 Crumbler on the Modhub just says by NEFG modding, but when you look at this one, it says required mod this one. If you look at this one, it says required mod this one. So they're designed to go together. This in essence is a cultivator system. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one, and I'm going to say this out loud right now. In the real world, when you're doing cultivating, seedbed preparation, whether it be fairly limited till if you're not going to go too deep and that kind of thing, these systems are designed to do what they do. This front section is designed with all the coulters to dig into the ground, turn it, aerate the ground a little bit more, and sort of break up any compacted ground, that kind of thing. Then when you get these sections, whether it be chain harrows or drag harrows or whatever they might be, basket rollers, those kind of things, they're designed to then break up any of the lumpier bits, smooth the bed out a little bit more. The rollers, these type of things as well, you can get them with spikes and discs and all sorts of stuff, are designed to really smooth out, flatten up and break up all the big lumps and crumbly bits to give you a nice smooth seed bed. In the real world, that's what they're designed to do. In game, we get a cultivating texture or a cultivated texture. So if you've ploughed the field like this one's ploughed, you get a cultivated texture, and that's what they do in game. So here's the thing with this one. I'm going to show you it in store, nicely detailed. I mean, loads going on, few options available of what we can do, some potential for this as well, because we have got a trailer hitch on here. This trailer hitch is designed for this to go on the back, but as I said many times before, when you give a mod to the the greater gaming public, you'd be amazed the kind of crazy contraptions and setups that people come up with. Stuff that I would imagine the modder and the people in the real world would never have considered even possible. Which sometimes game physics allow, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're not realistic in any way, shape or form, but people find ways to do all sorts of amazing things. So, this you'll find under cultivators. So, the 110 Crumbler, 27 inch, is 16 slots. The Tigermate 200 is 21 slots if you're on console. 11,000 for the Crumbler, and it only requires 30 horsepower to pull, and that's 10 metres. The Tigermate 200 requires 250 horsepower to pull. It's also 10 metres, so when you pull that behind that, you're going to be looking at probably 280 horsepower-ish, depending on how level the ground is, to pull both together. Now, options available on the Tigermate 200. You can have it stock as it is with just the coulters, or you can have it with the 5-bar spike tooth, or you can have it with a 2-bar Tiger tine on the back, which has got 2 sets of tines and then basket rollers, or back to stock again. I went with the 5-bar spike tooth on it, or like I say, that or nothing at all. Then we can go with attachers, none, or rear hitch. Now that rear hitch is what allows you to hook up the Crumbler onto the back of it. Now that will still work whether you've got the stock, that, or that will still allow you to hook the Crumbler up to the back. Okay, so bear that in mind for a minute. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate. So, what will this do? Over ploughed ground or a field that's just been harvested, or sometimes you don't have to if you've got a direct drill. If you haven't got a direct drill and your seeder requires you to cultivate before, what I do like with this as well, when you put these on, if you drive forward and stop, you notice they're on chains and you get a bit of kind of movement on those. So we'll open it up. So as it stands, this unit on its own will cultivate. So we'll drop it down and away we go. Like I say, it requires 250 horsepower to pull that, and we get our cultivating state. Lovely. Now, as I've already said, in the real world, hooking up that Crumbler section on the back is designed to break up any large clods, any bits and bobs that are in the way, just to really improve that seed bed. So what we'll do is open that up on the back. We'll drop the front section down. We'll drop our rear section down. And away we go. So here's where I play devil's advocate. So real world scenario, that's what you do. In game, why have the Crumbler on the back? Because that front cultivator section is cultivating. In game, that Crumbler isn't doing anything. Unless you're going to go for a realistic approach and you want it to be aesthetically correct, which again, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm not saying there's anything bad about it. I'm just playing devil's advocate. You don't really need the Crumbler on the back to get the cultivating state, which then made me wonder, do I need the front section? Is that Crumbler there just purely aesthetic? Or can the Crumbler section work independently without the other bit? So, drop that off. Drop that off. And we'll just hook up the Crumbler. Now bearing in mind, the Crumbler cost, was it 11,000? 11,000 requires 30 horsepower to pull. Do you think the size tractors you could pull this with and runs out at 10 metres wide? Okie dokie then. Which, playing devil's advocate even further, why do I need the other bit? Why am I going to pull something that requires 250 horsepower, potentially 280 with this on the back, when I can pull this requiring 30 horsepower and still does the same job out to 10 metres? And like I say, I'm not knocking the modder, I'm not knocking the mod, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Think about it in game. If you're starting out and you want to be cultivating, now that is sitting up off the ground a little bit, I've just noticed that. You want to get started and you want to get cultivating out to a nice width with a small tractor, this is the way to go. Get the Crumbler. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If you want to go realistic and you want to follow the whole, this is how it would all be set up in the real world, then absolutely go with that setup and then maybe add that onto the back if you want to. But I just wanted to kind of show you those are the options. That's what you can do with it. Rightly or wrongly, it's there. You can. That's by Lindbejb and NEFG modding, the 110 Crumbler and the Tigermate 200 Case IH cultivators. Moving on, we have got this. This is the double Spanish shed. This is by Rowley Christie 1. We had a Spanish shed before. This is a nice one. It's a nice size. Got the section down the side here for storage or vehicles or whatever you want to do. Inside, same thing. Plenty of space. Nice sounds. Nice mod. One of the advantages of this one is it's not too expensive for the size of it. It's only about, I think it's under 10 grand, which is pretty good. Inside, nicely detailed. We do have a light switch here. The lights are very bright in here. I'm pretty sure the other Spanish one we had was like this, very, very bright. Toolbox at the back and a poster, and the detailing looks really, really good. Texture-wise, there's not a huge amount going on the walls and stuff like that. But that, could well be the design. I mean, at the end of the day, if that's what they're like in Spain, I've not seen many Spanish. Mine's gone blank. Spanish sheds is the word I'm looking for. This you'll find under placeables, under sheds. Yeah, 9,500. It will use 11 slots, so not horrendous on the slot count either. Pretty good, in all honesty, for the size of it and the price of it. I like that. Not bad at all. Moving on, we've got this. Now, this is another one of those ones that I'm not going to use the word game changer because we've got Multifruit Silos already. But this is another one that's got some really nice pluses to it. I know people like the kind of realism side of things, and often we'll get silos that say they're 1,000,000 litres and it's tiny, and you look and think, okay, where is that 1,000,000 litres going? This is a 700,000 litre silo. It is a Multifruit Silo by Rowley Christie 1 as well. Really, really nicely detailed. I love all the brickwork. I love, you know, the windows all the way up. It's a big, imposing building, but if it was going to be holding 700,000 litres, you'd expect it to be a big building. We've got our unload point here, so for putting into the silo, there. We've got our out chute just here, so for getting out of it is just there. Now, we do have lights in here as well. Nice detailing. What I do like as well is being able to look through the windows and actually see the silos inside again. Another nice touch, that. Now, this one, unfortunately for me, has one small drawback. It could be the map. It could be a map mod conflict. But when I placed it, I got this. Now, the water underneath is because the water plane on no man's land is very high, so that when you're landscaping you can get water and landscaping features and lakes and stuff like that, rivers, which is what Jim did. So potentially if you place this you might get a big hole under it, or you might not get this at all. But I am pointing out that when I placed this, this is what I got, this gap, which is unfortunate and a bit annoying if I'm honest, because other than that I really like this. I like the detail, I like the capacity, I like the fact that it will take everything, I think, pretty much. And again, out to 700,000 litres, that's fantastic. Yeah, wheat, barley, oat, canola, sunflower, soybean, corn, potatoes, sugar beet, sugarcane, seeds, total mixed ration, forage, chaff, wood chips, silage, grass, hay, straw, fertiliser, manure, pig food, lime, hay pellets and straw pellets if you've got the add-on straw harvest enabled and on. If you haven't, it doesn't always show that on the silos. All of that 700,000 litres. So it's just so frustrating. There's that little bit down the front. I'm like, oh no. And like I say, you might not get that. You might find on yours that doesn't happen. I'm hoping if that is a problem that other people have found, that we get an update for this fairly quickly. It takes up a bit of room to place, but then that's just because of the size of it. This you will find under placeables, under silos. And here's the other bonus with this one. It's only 100,000 to buy. Again, we've had some multi-fruit silos which are like, wow, that's fantastic, look at the capacity. 400,000 to buy, 500,000, whatever it might be. 100 grand for a 700,000 litre silo, I think that's brilliant. It will use 23 slots if you're on console, or if you're on PlayStation. I have had a lot of people actually reporting back to me when I say the slot count, they're finding on Xbox the slot counts are different for some reason on maps as well, which is odd. I don't know why that would be, but anyway, yeah, on PlayStation 4 at least, it is 23 slots for the silo multi-fruit, which brings me on to the last of the mods today. We've got John the Ripper. We have got some John Deere Rippers. This is the John Deere 915 V Ripper series. These are by Steenkamp Modding. We've got a 7 shank, we've got a 9 shank, and we've got an 11 shank, running out from 4 point... oh, mine's gone blank. We'll have a look at the story in a second. 4.2 I think it was. 4.2 metres, 5.5 and 6.6 metres. These are a direct link, 3-point link attacher, not trailed or anything like that. These will also allow you to create fields, so if you want to create your own fields you can use it as, it's a big ripper, referred to sometimes as subsoilers, but very, very nice. V-shaped, hence V-Ripper. I know everyone likes, well, say everyone, I know a lot of people love the John Deere gear and have been waiting for a lot more John Deere stuff to come out, so we've got some John Deere Rippers. This is part of the Borgo pack on console, so I know when I've used this before, people have said, where did you get the 9RX from? That's part of the Borgo DLC, so if you've got the Borgo DLC you'll get that. So this you'll find under tools, under ploughs, The 7 shank is 9,406 slots on console. It requires 315 horsepower, 4.2 metres, and will run at 9 miles per hour. The 915 9 shank is 13,850. It requires 405 horsepower, 5.5 metres, 9 miles per hour. And then we've got the 11 shank, 16,750, requires 495 horsepower, so a fair bit of oomph required for that one. 6.6 metres and also runs at 9 miles per hour. There are no options available, you get what you get. So, what I do like with this one as well, we turn our lights on, we've got lights on the Ripper itself, we've also got indicators on the back of the Ripper too. Now these don't fold up, so obviously the wider ones, depending on what sort of map you're on, yeah, I don't know how you normally go about delivering your ploughs, but drop it down, we get our ploughing state, which is what you'd expect from your Ripper. Very nice. And if you want to create a new field or add an extension to your field, we can allow create field on PlayStation, L1 and triangle, drop it down, and we are now in creating our own field mode. Raise it back up, L1 and triangle again, disables that, so when I put it back into the ground it now won't create a field, but if you go onto a field that requires ploughing, it will, which is what most of the subsoilers and ploughs and things do already. But there we go. That's the John Deere 915 V Ripper series by Steenkamp Modding. 3 different sizes. Does what you want, does what you expect. And again with this, I'm pretty sure people are going to have a fiddle around with various different frames and combinations of things to maybe hook multiple ones of these together to give you much wider ploughing widths and that kind of thing, which potentially I'm trying to think of different combinations you could go for, but I'm sure people will think of ways of making this a wider prospect. Although saying that, you're going to need some serious horsepower. It's going to be big bud type horsepower, aren't you, to be able to pull 2 of these? That would be a bit mad, wouldn't it? But anyway, that's it for the mods for today, I think, unless they've released anything late onto the Modhub that I wasn't expecting. I don't think they have. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.